I graduated from Mount Juliet High School in 2012. I went to Jackson State Community College in Jackson, Tennessee. It's about 2 hours west of here, in between, halfway from here in Memphis. I spent 2 years there, and then I transferred to Trevecca Nazarene University, which is in Nashville. It's a private college in downtown Nashville. I went there. Pretty much chose my college choice because of baseball.
So I started college in 2000, and in 2003, I flunked out. And I flunked out purposely, basically. I mean, it was a choice not to come to class. And I was just consumed with all the things that life had to offer. And it's like, oh, I could go to this party, I could not do my homework. That's awesome. Then I can sleep in and nobody's gonna call me and say, hey, let's come to class, or hey, did you do your homework? I mean, I was just continually damaging my life. I was wasting money. And if somebody had told me before that not going to college right after high school was an option, then I wouldn't have wasted all that time and I wouldn't have wasted that money. And so when I went back to school in 2005, I was a much better person and it made me a much better student. I was much more focused, and I just went straight through, kept going. Probably teachers most times don't want to tell you about the time that they didn't do, but that was what I didn't do.
Did I fail a few times? Yeah, I failed a few times. I made a few bad decisions. Absolutely, I did. Did I make mistakes? Absolutely, I did. But I learned from those mistakes. You're going to make mistakes when you go to college because you're new, everything's new to you. Everything is new. My life is brand new. It's a fresh start. It's a good thing in that aspect, right? You get to leave your high school, leave your home community, right? And you get a fresh start, but at the same time, you're also like a brand new baby out there, right? And you're just figuring things out. And the only way that you figure things out is by experiencing them and making mistakes and then fixing that moving forward.
I had gotten a job. I was in an office. I was working, a typical 9 to 5. And I thought, this is decent money for a 20-something-year-old, but do I still want to be in this income bracket in the next 5 years or 10 years or 20 years? And it was very, very, very boring working in an office. And I knew I had too much energy for just sitting at a desk pushing papers all day long. So those are probably the two main things that drove me to go back to school. I knew I had too much to be boxed in to an office all day long. And then the money I couldn't see myself making that income in the next 5 to 10 to 20 years.
So let's just say after 2 years, right? After 2 years of school, you've taken your gen eds and you're kind of getting into your junior year. That's when it's like, okay, I need to focus on one thing. I need to have a major here. I choose a major. All I know is this. I know an individual in my life who has majored in psychology, changed from psychology to veterinarian technology. She wanted to be a vet tech, okay? Changed from vet tech to graphic design. Changed from graphic design to criminology. Okay, this individual graduated high school at the same time as me, does not have her associate's degree, and has somewhere around $10,000 worth of debt, student loan debt, from switching majors that many times. Because if you choose something and you spend the money to take that class and then you ultimately don't decide to do that, you just wasted all that money that you just spent, pretty much. So that would be my thing, is that if you don't know, if you go, if you get there and it's tough and you don't know yet, and you're kind of at that point where you got to choose a pathway, hold back and wait till you know what you want to do.
So I have always loved working with kids, and my passion was English. I've been writing since I was 6 years old, like journaling and things like that, poems. Some of my poems are horrible, just saying, but some of them are really great. And I've always enjoyed writing, and so merging the two together just made sense to me. I love being around kids or students. I love writing. I love the aspect of literature and talking about it. And so I think I was in one of my upper level English classes when I was at TSU, and I thought, man, I could do this all day long. I could teach all day long. And so I added on to my English major, I added on a teacher certification to that, and just kind of started going through that and observing different schools and things like that. And I just thought it was fun. It still is, but it was initially just fun.
For me, that's writing is I like to think that I'm good at it, but it takes me a minute. So it takes a long time for me to do that. So, when you have to write papers and you have to really, really think about, it was the best class for me though, was writing. Because it taught me how to write better, to communicate my thoughts better, and not be such a wordy writer. But, it took a lot of thought to do that. It took me a lot of time. On top of that, I would also say a difficult class was any type of science. Biology. I think I only took biology 1 and biology 2. But I had to study so hard for that.
My master's, my doctorate, those are both in education. My undergraduate is in English, so I took English to a different level. But what really is my passion under the umbrella of what I love, which is English, is education. So that's why I kept going. So I just wanted to learn all I could learn about education, because that's how I can affect my students in English.
Your academic advisor is your best friend. Okay, that person, you need to be in their ear all the time. And that doesn't mean email them. That means go wait outside their office and go sit on their desk and talk to them and tell them what you need to be done. I was in my junior year at Trevecca. I decided I wanted to do business education. Okay, well, it turned out that Trevecca's education classes didn't offer classes until the nighttime. While I was a baseball player, I couldn't do that. So I had to go sit on this dude's desk and I had to say, yo, man, I need to graduate in 2 years. What major do I need to choose to graduate and get my name on this degree in 2 years? He said business management. You may have to take a few summer classes, yada, yada, yada. But he could pull some strings also. And he did, and he helped me out. All right, but he's not going to do that if I'm just emailing him. So you need to make that person an important aspect of your college life.
So my week, after going back to college the second time, because see, there were a lot of classes that I failed the first time, so I was retaking classes and trying to stay on track with the classes that I already had. So a typical week, when I went back in 2005, I had 2 English classes throughout that week. I had 1 creative writing class, then I had a remedial class that, and a remedial class is basically saying you got to take this class before you can start taking real college classes, and they put you on that track because if you enter in with a certain GPA below what it's supposed to be, then you just automatically have to take those kind of practice classes. So I had those English classes back to back. I had my creative writing class. I had my remedial class. I didn't have any fun classes, basically, because I had already played around. But I was doing that, and I was actually working full-time. So I was going to school. My first class started at 8 o'clock in the morning. My last class, which was usually a lab, ended at 3:20 or 4:20, depending on the day of the week. And then usually from there, I went to work. And when I got out from work at 10, 11 o'clock at night, I had to figure out a way to do homework before my 8 o'clock class the next day. So that was what my week looked like. Intense. But I deserved it because I was making up for lost time.
For the first month or so, I struggled. I hadn't experienced living on a budget where I had to take care of my own self and prepare for 3 weeks from now, because I would get money monthly from my parents. And they would say, you have to make this amount of money work for a month. So a lot of the times I would take that money in the beginning, I'd be like, ooh, I have so much money. And I would spend that money on food, or if I needed something, if I wanted to buy something, and then you got 2 weeks left in the month and I didn't have any money. All right, so I didn't prepare myself in that aspect. And so when you get to college, you're going to find out that there's many things to do, and you're on your own to make those decisions, and you got to balance it out as far as how much time am I going to spend doing this, and then I got to spend this much time studying, getting my work done for class, and with whatever else it is that you're doing or involved in, you got to remember also, I'm in school. I'm in here to make these grades, to get these credit hours, to get this degree.
Oh my goodness. Red Bull was my life. It was my life. Now, I don't encourage it now, but Red Bull was my life when I was in undergrad, when I had gone back to undergrad. That and coffee. Coffee, to a certain extent, didn't even help. But I had to pull all-nighters because I was still making up for lost time.
I pulled all-nighters. I did. Okay, I grabbed me, coffee, Red Bull, right? But I luckily I had that friend group that would get with me, and I would study all night long, right? If I had something that I had to do, right? But that was due the next day, a test I had to do the next day, right? So you got to make your sacrifice. You got to put in your time sometimes. Sometimes it's not what you feel like doing, not what you want to do, but you got to do it. And it's tough. As long as you manage it and balance it out and understand your priorities, that's what's important is my priorities. This is more important than this, so I'm going to choose this. I'm going to choose this decision because it's the right thing to do. It's what I need to do.
I look at education and learning as like a muscle, right? If you want a certain muscle you want to flex and you want a certain muscle to grow, you can't keep doing the same thing, right? You can't do it what you're comfortable with. If you're used to 10-pound weights and you want your muscles to grow, guess what? If you're doing 10-pound weights, every day for the rest of your life, your muscles are not going to grow. So I think putting yourself out there and getting involved in another class or another activity that's going to grow you, I think that's exactly what you need to. Even if it's one class or one activity, or I'm going to go to this study group even though I know nobody there. That's the only thing that's really going to heighten your college experience and grow you the most as an adult and prepare you for the real world.
Questions, you can't ask too many questions when you get there. If you go on a college visit and you have something that you want to know or you have something that pops up in your mind, you want to find out right then and there. Because on a college visit, I truly don't think you can ever really know whether this place is the right place for you until you get there. I've never experienced from having players of my own since I've been coaching in high school that I've gone on visits to places, and myself when I went and visited places, you have an idea, but you never really know how you're going to fit in with the place until you actually get there. So as much information as you can find out on a visit or before you make your decision, that will benefit you.
Definitely find that thing you want to do, whether it is involving yourself more with community service, involving yourself more at school. You have to find something that you really love to do. There are things that you have to do because you have to do them, right, in order to get the things that you really want to do later on in life. So even if it's for a moment and you're thinking, I want to go into this major because it makes a specific amount of money. If it's for a moment and it's making you the money to afford whatever you want to do later in life, sometimes you just got to take it and you just got to do it, right? But at the same time, if it's something that doesn't give you even an ounce of pleasure, that's not worth your time. I mean, I'm not going to be the richest person in the world because I'm a teacher, right? But it fulfills me more than any other job that I've had in my entire life. And I'm not old, so I still got a ways to go. But I've just never been in a position to where I'm impacting lives directly, like, you know what I mean? Just really, really impacting lives. And so I would say go for what drives you, what really, really wakes you up in the morning, your passion. The money will take care of itself. If you dump your passion into it, you dump your heart into it, the money will take care of itself. But find something that really, really lights your fire and go with it. Just go with it.